Arne Slot saw the game. Jamie Carragher obviously was commentating for us. Jamie, I know you missed the beginning of that, but just to sum up, Arne Slot saying that he would have been happy if he knew how many chances Liverpool would create in the match. And actually, Cody Gakpo had a higher XG than Manchester United as a team in that game, hit the post 3 times, but that they have to finish them better, but also that defensively, of the chances they did give up, they conceded a couple of goals, including one from a set piece or from a corner that led to the goal. And then he said, we just can't afford to be doing that.
Yeah, I think it was a really good interview, that, because when you lose a game of this magnitude, people get emotional. You know, even pundits, supporters. And it probably is a good time for the manager to be measured. 4 defeats in a row. He's explained the game really well. If Liverpool put the majority of the chances away, they'd probably win the game. But the way the Premier League is style-wise this season, for everybody, set pieces is a big part of the game. Everybody's taken long throws this season. Set pieces galore. We look at Arsenal, the success they've had as well. And Liverpool just can't seem to cope at the moment. So we keep talking about new signings and integrating them in terms of actually the football Liverpool are playing. But the new signings that Liverpool have brought in, has it affected them set piece-wise as well? The fullbacks are quite small. There's no sort of great, physical presence in there. Even if you play a Wirtz in midfield, and McAllister as well, you've got to think set piece wise as well. Is the team big enough? And maybe this is hurting Liverpool now, not just in terms of actually, playing the football and getting players on the ball, but it looks like they're not coping at all well with set pieces. They conceded last minute at Crystal Palace from a long throw as well. Another corner at Crystal Palace as well. So yeah, they're struggling, I think, with the style of the whole Premier League right now.
You mentioned the fact that it's a time for Arne Slot to be measured after 4 defeats in a row. But if you look at performances across the whole season, you were saying in the first game of the season against Bournemouth that there were worrying signs defensively for Liverpool from open play. Have they gone any way to fixing those? Do they still look as vulnerable in open play as you thought they were on that first day?
Oh, yeah, it hasn't changed. And I think a few weeks ago, I looked about Liverpool maybe going back to having Szoboszlai in the midfield and maybe Wirtz coming out the team because he's more of an offensive number 10 than Szoboszlai. But Szoboszlai's played in that position in the last 2 games, away at Chelsea, here against Manchester United today. And Liverpool are still conceding goals and conceding big chances. You think of the chance Fernandes had in that first half as well. Manchester United should be 2-0 up in that situation. So there's, as we said before the game, I don't think it's one glaring problem. There's lots of things. New signings, not up to speed. But some of Liverpool's great players last season are playing nowhere near the level that they are and, just making sort of errors. And you talk about Konate. He was brilliant today. I thought Konate had a great game. But then Van Dijk's nowhere near himself. I mean, he has a really poor game as well. So it's not quite happening for Liverpool right now. And I think, I've just mentioned on the podcast, actually, I think if
where's that available to download? All your usual podcast places.
Exactly. But I think when the champions or a team, if you think of last season, on such a long run undefeated from the Nottingham Forest game, I think maybe to the Fulham game later in the season, almost feel invincible. And then this season, as soon as someone beats them, this run goes on of 4 games. I remember Manchester City last season had that run where you couldn't believe this was Manchester City. You feel a little bit like that with Liverpool. And I go back to a game I played in here 25 years ago or something, where the invincible team, following season, once they'd lost 1 game, everyone thought, oh, maybe you can beat them. And they actually went on a run of sort of losing 4 or 5 games. So it's just one of those things that the rut that they're in right now, and they just, as the manager said, they've got to get out of it quick. But it's probably, we're not going to see the best of Liverpool, I would say, till the second half of the season.
But that's why I think a draw today, I know we praised them for gambling and winning, getting late goals. But on the back of 3 defeats, you're home to United and it's 1-1. Don't shy away from taking a point as well. I think just to stop the rot. I know 3 games for Liverpool is a lot. But there's a bit of arrogance in that, which is nothing wrong with that. When you're a champion, you think there's a bit of a swagger. But also smell the game and go, there's danger here. That's why there's not no taking a point either. It's not the end of the world.
There's a lot to talk about from this game, and we're going to carry on doing that on Sky Sports Premier League. If you are watching on Sky Sports main event, it's going to be a really exciting end.
That comes here with a low block, with playing a lot of long balls. Then you know that is going to be difficult because it's not easy to play through them, and you don't get the chance to win the ball back high up the pitch and then create your chance. But it makes it even harder if you after 1 or 2 minutes, I think. 1-0 down. And if you would have told me before the game that we were able to play against the low block with the quality players United have, against a team that plays so many long balls, we would be able to create so many chances, I would have said I would take that immediately, and that normally doesn't lead to losing the game of football. But we did, because we missed a lot, and the few chances we've conceded led to 2 goals conceded, were again a set piece. Is partly the reason why we lose this game.
I could see from where I was sat that you weren't happy with some of the officiating for their first goal, for a penalty you might have had during the first half. Did you feel those 2 were big moments and didn't go the way they should have gone?
I think if you lose a game of football, especially after you've lost 4, maybe you can have the emotion in the game, but I should not talk about that at this moment of time. No excuses. We've had more than enough chances to score a goal where we then maybe didn't need that penalty. If it was one, yes or no, I don't want to talk about that. We should just focus on ourselves. If we have so many chances, you need to score more. And if you are 1-1 and the game is completely there for you, and you then have to defend one set piece, defend it better than we did. And this is where we should focus on. And that there is emotion in the game about decisions, yeah, that's I think quite normal. Every manager has this. But I should not talk about this after the game.
Is that pattern a concern? Getting yourselves back into a game, getting level, and then losing it late on?
Nah, it happens just 3 times in a row. So yeah, we've made many offensive substitutions to turn the game around. And I think, I wouldn't say that worked, but in the end we've created a lot of chances throughout the whole game, but mainly after the substitutions were made. And then of course you don't have maybe the same structure in defending a set piece as you have when you start the game, because it's every time when someone gets off there's a lot of work to be done, who does what. But sometimes it's then not about who does what, it's just about making sure you don't concede. But our mindset in that moment of time is maybe only on scoring, because we think we deserve to win the game, and we forget that I don't know if we forget, but it comes across like that we forget this 1 or 2 single moments where we have to defend.
Just tell us about some of the changes you made, because you were really kind of aggressive in terms of trying to affect the game from the touchline. What was your thinking, just trying to kind of overload that low block?
I think before that already we've created enough chances to score a goal. Cody Gakpo twice on the post in the first half. Alexander Isak 1-on-1 to the goalkeeper. And I think if I look it back, I maybe forget 1 or 2 chances. And in the second half, we started off quite well, in my opinion. But yeah, if you have so many good players on the bench, you can better use them, especially if they are offensive. And then you take the risk, because that's... People might say, yeah, you've conceded 1 or 2 extra chances apart from the goal as well. Correct, that's what we did. But that's also what we need to do. If you're 1-0 down, you have to take more risk than when you're 1-0 up. So if I take that into account, that we every time have to fight back and then see the amount of chances we concede, I cannot be too negative about that. But defending in the set piece, if you are 1-1, that happened to us at Palace, that happened to us today, that we have to do much better. But again, a lot of impact from the players that came on. But that's also because of the effort we put in the first half. So we have 60-65% ball possession. The other team has to run a lot. A lot of players had to go off from United because they were tired. But yeah, end result, lost 2-1.
Yeah, and it is 4 defeats in a row. How have you ended up as the league's champions in this downward spiral, and how difficult a moment is it for you and the team?
It is a difficult moment because you know how it works in football. If you lose a game of football, if you lose 2, 3 or 4, the main thing is that the players need to keep believing in each other, and what we are doing is good. So if you play a game like this, I think they will be in the dressing room saying, what an amount of chances we had. But you can play a next game maybe where you don't create as much, and this is always players, if you lose, players come off, thought they didn't have to be substituted, players who thought they had to play longer. These kind of things are quite normal in football. But what I see at this moment of time at Liverpool is that they're all very involved. If we start them, they do well. If they come in, they do well. If we get chances in the end, I see the players on the bench hoping that we score. Also the ones I took off, frustrated if then Maguire wasn't fractionally offside. So I see everything that is needed to win a game of football. But maybe it's a smart thing that we start doing this quite soon.
You took Mo Salah off needing a goal, and he obviously is in a difficult moment. Are we seeing a great player maybe moving into a different phase of his career? I mean, I know it's a difficult question for you to answer, or is it just form? Is it just him trying to blend with new signings? What's happening with him at the moment?
I think after games like this, it's quite normal, usual that people are very focused on individual players. So in the first 5 or 6 games, it was mainly about the signings we did. Now we have to talk about Mo Salah. I think we've had more than enough chances to score a goal, and Mo missed a big one. Some others missed a big chances, and we are not used to this from Mo. But yes, we needed a goal. But yes, we also needed maybe a player that could create something in that end phase, and that's what Jeremy did. He came in, had a great action, say, cross to Cody, and when we would have been 3-0 up, I think Cody would have scored that one, but I cannot guarantee this. But so, like I said, every player has tried everything, but it didn't work out for us.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
So Palace in amongst all
Absolutely.
of
Well, we
that.
talk about set pieces. Jamie's mentioned it, how difficult they are now, and how big. You've got the ultimate test next week at Brentford away. So they're the challenges that they've got to have. So they've got to make sure they deal with
And
it.
with all the players they brought in, I'm just trying to imagine how the manager and the staff at the training ground they're looking at. They have a lot of options, really, and sometimes that can be a problem. Also, when you've got brilliant options on the bench, you see him chopping and changing, and he is offensive, and I give him a thumbs up for gambling. But again, there's certain games, and you have it, the old sayings in football, if you can't win it, don't lose it. They've got to get back to that mindset of not giving up daft goals like they have done. That's the point he made at the end.
When you sort of won the title, and you're obviously lucky to win it loads of times, did you then, the second, when you have to do it again, is it like is it hard to get yourself going?
Yeah, there's obviously a different challenge, and obviously people look at you, but then you've obviously got a bit of a confidence about you that we've done it and we can hopefully do it again. And you've got that kind of that winning culture and that vibe going on. And again, people always thought about the team I was involved in going, you always felt you'd go to the very end. And you always felt if anyone was going to win it, it was United and they'd be gambling. But there was plenty of games where we'd be trying to win again, but also we'd be looking going, everyone thinks we're going to go for it here, but we'll take a draw. There's certain games, like I think you always have to smell it in the air. I think Liverpool should have smelled that today. And I know it's hard when you're at home and the fans are pushing you, it's on the television, everyone's building the game up. But when it's 1-1 and you've lost 3 in a row, there's nothing wrong with just bringing it back to basics. Go, listen, what lads, we'd love to win it. We've got enough attacking players on the pitch. But defensively, you've got experienced 2 centre-halves going, yeah, listen, we've got 1 or 2 players who can try and win it. But make sure we don't lose it. Do
you think that's a hangover, though, from those seasons where City were pushing for 100 points, where Liverpool ran them close on 90-odd points in more than one season?
Well, yeah, they were obviously had good rhythm last year, particularly.
But when it felt that a draw was drop points, when you almost had to have a perfect season.
Yeah, no, obviously to win titles, it is about winning football matches, but I'm just on about if there's 5 or 10 minutes to go and you're up against teams like United today, especially with their attacking players, Kelly, you smell it, you just feel it in the air going, I know everyone wants to, I was a midfielder and we'd have lads going forward, but I'd still be going, yeah, lads, Giggsy, Beck, you go for it, but don't worry, I'm sitting back here and I'm going to sit in front of my 2 centre-halves and we're still going to make sure we defend crosses or whatever, because unless you do that, unless you do them basics right, you're not going to win football matches. So I just felt today at Liverpool, there was a time for them to go, with 5 or 10 minutes to go, we talk about that throw-in, and even that was a symbol of like, what are you doing? Just throw it down the line and we get up the pitch. Maybe a bit of arrogance and you can be too confident. And United are looking, going, I tell you, what happens when you're thinking that? United will be sniffing it and going, I think there's a chance here that we can win this game. And United haven't won here for 10 years, so you're giving them belief. You have to take that belief away from them. And again, go in that dressing room afterwards and be annoyed with a draw. Go in and go, lads, we need to do better. But it's a draw. It's something. Instead of going and going, hey, we can't be giving up goals like that. We said about their body language when it comes back in from Bruno. Players, 4 or 5 of them are kind of looking to run up the pitch. If they're playing at home to a championship team, or 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they got a few chances. They had a little bit of joy. I know they won the game, but it's still Man United there, and they still have very good attacking players. And all of a sudden you go, it's gone out to Bruno, and you're running out. But Bruno puts it in. Maguire's on the back post, just like some of the Palace players were on the back post, just like Chelsea were on the back post when they're breaking, going, we'll sniff a chance here.
That's what you just said there. You probably looked at it a few times. The goal and the team defending the corner. But I go back to my worry about Liverpool at the start of the season. It's not so much all the attacking players. But if the mindset of everyone is always, we're going to be attacking, we've got this attacking play, we're going to be on the ball, people are always thinking about what happens when they're on the ball, and almost the defending bit becomes a bit like, oh, do I have to do that? Do I have to track him back? Do I have to go and win a big header? I want to get on the ball, I want to play, we've got midfield players who all want to get on the ball. So I actually think sometimes Liverpool, now there's almost a mindset of not actually doing the dirty work. And you're talking about today, you know, getting that point, that was definitely more the case in the 2 away games at Chelsea, Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace battered Liverpool. They got a goal late on Liverpool. That's like, get out of there with your point. It's a tough place to go. Could have been 3-0 down at half-time. Great point. So away at Chelsea, got beat there last season. You got back to 1-1. You don't get beat. That's the thing that frustrates me in terms of the experience on the pitch and the players they have on the pitch. You've won, not just last season, but won numerous trophies over these last
Have they
few
lost
years.
that pride in defending? We talk about teams that win titles. It's going, the foundations, obviously you need a top goalkeeper, be rock solid at the back. We look what Arsenal do now. But Liverpool looking as if going, do we need to do that bit? Because we've got so many options. We've got brilliant attacking players. They're always a goal threat again. They could have scored 4 or 5 today, but they're getting caught out a little bit, almost become a bit more humble. And don't forget what you got that a bit of success, and that was being maybe rock solid at the back. You're going to give up 1 or 2 chances, but I think teams now are playing Liverpool, and now it's 4 games, and going, mate, I think we've
Humble
got
is
chances.
exactly the word that
The
Van
problem
Dijk
is, though,
used.
Kelly, when you actually look at the team they ended up with, they end up with 3 defensive-minded players. Carragher, Konate and Virgil van Dijk. Everyone else on that pitch is always thinking a little bit like what Gakpo's thinking when that corner comes in. If we get the ball, we might score. When Roy mentions about, like, you know, when he was there and he'd be in a defensive midfield player, OK, you go, I'll sit here. That's not in Jones. He's not inclined to do that. Wirtz is not inclined to do that. You end up with everybody else, all the 4 players. Ekitike, obviously Isak was off the pitch at the time. Frimpong's not that player. Everyone's trying to win the game. There was not one player that's really going, OK, if we lose it in that midfield, what happens next? And that's where they got...
Great example. If you looked at Arsenal last night, Arsenal, for all how brilliant they are, and when you get to the top of the league and you're thinking your confidence is sky, but you look at Arsenal, when they lose the ball, forget about what they're doing in possession. They've got really good players and they're brilliant at set pieces. It's what they're doing without the ball. They're hunting in packs. And they're like, tactics are out the window. They're just going to close people down. They're not getting bogged down by anything else. So look at Arsenal's success at the moment. Still a lot to do for them. I know there's a long way to go. The bit of joy is coming from actually hunting the ball down, chasing it, pride, hunger. Have Liverpool lost that a little bit? I think they have.
They nearly had the chance to...
If you lose, it's a disaster. If you win, it's a transformational moment. Nonetheless, was that perhaps the biggest win of your time as Manchester United manager?
Yeah, I think so. It doesn't mean a lot. It means today, but tomorrow is not going to mean a lot. It's 3 points, but it's a good victory. But I will do the same thing that I did in the last games, is try to see the game, try to, in key points we had some luck. But we fought for every ball. We lost our composure a little bit in the second half. But the most important thing, the spirit was there, and that is the beginning of everything. And sometimes you play more with the ball, and other days you play without the ball. But if you have the spirit, you can win any game.
I was going to ask you, what did you like most about it? But would it be the togetherness, the fight, the spirit?
The spirit, and the belief that, of course, we need some moments like to score first. Saves from our goalkeeper, one shot on the post to start believing that we can win any game. But then you can feel it. Any transition, some moments with the ball, the team starts believing that is possible. It was a good day, but now I'm concerned about Brighton.
Not already, Ruben.
Yeah, because I had 1 year of experience, so I will enjoy it. I'm not dumb. I have to enjoy these moments, but let's focus on Brighton.
You made a couple of decisions at the start of the game that I'm sure, you know, if you'd have been stood here after a defeat, you'd have been criticised for. You brought Maguire in, and you went with that mobile front three. Just tell us a bit more about both those decisions, because clearly they worked.
It's a lack of a manager. So I was expecting that. So it's nothing new. So I get used to that. We just saw the game. We know that how important set pieces are, how important the guys that have more experience. Imagine that something happened in the beginning of the game against us. Harry Maguire has has experience to help the other guys. And then Konate and Van Dijk, they like the confrontation. They like to fight. One of them goes to the ball, the other one make a second line. But you can sense that more or less all the transitions was Cunha. Cunha was so far from the centre backs that help us to take the ball.
We try and play on their bad run and almost make them impatient a little bit when they were in possession.
Every time you play in this kind of environment, if you block well, especially in the beginning, you can feel the fans turning. We feel that in our stadium. All the big teams suffer from that. We try to do that. I think we have to have, of course, more possession to rest our players. They struggle in the end because they are used to have the ball. When they spend so much time without the ball, they struggle a little bit. So, but again, good win. Let's focus on the next one.
I think I asked you beforehand, would a win kind of change the story of this season, maybe even change the story of your time in charge so far, because it's the back-to-back wins. It's a win at Anfield for the first time in a long time. It's an away win for the first time in a while. Do you think this is the moment that switches the narrative?
I think it will give us more confidence to the week. Will give a lot of pleasure to our fans that they deserve it. After Greensby, after Brentford, to have a win like this is really important. But again, that is in our hands. And this is the past. Let's focus on the future. It will change if we do the same thing, playing a little bit better, but with the same spirit. Things will change in time.
Thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you.
Look, he's preaching calm and sense at the moment, Ruben Amorim, and in the wake of what was a really big win for Manchester United. We saw the reaction from the players, and we certainly saw the reaction from the fans as well. It's a fourth Premier League away win under Amorim. This one, the one against Manchester City, Fulham and Leicester are the other two teams. So what can we read into it? Not just the result, Roy, but the performance of Manchester United.
Well, obviously, they had a little bit of luck today. They've scored 2 goals. Could have scored 1 or 2 more. They gave up a lot of chances, as lots of teams do when they play Liverpool. But he mentioned, again, the word belief. We look at Liverpool maybe losing it a little bit. Their belief that when they've lost 4, so for United to get a back-to-back wins, the result here today, again, if you go into the training ground this week, United will be a better place. And that's it. There'll be different energy, there'll be different vibes. They've got new players who've come to the club, particularly attacking players. And they haven't got all that baggage, I suppose, from last year when it was really negative and the results and lack of goals. So now they can bring some positivity. But again, Brighton next week, another tricky game for United. But what we're finding out about certain players at United, now we've seen today with the attacking players, what you want at United as well, or whatever about their technical skills, is lads who are big characters and big personalities. And we're seeing certainly signs of players who are playing for Man United going, yeah, these expectations, and obviously expected to win every week, I think they're embracing it. They don't look they're shying away from it. Still loads to fix. Let's not kid ourselves either at United all of a sudden some top team, far from it. But they've got signs like they're a goal threat, and obviously last year particularly when you're not scoring many goals, they were constantly under pressure at the back. But now it just eases the pressure a little bit. When you come to players like Liverpool, you go, listen, we've got 2 or 3 goals in our makeup. Even Sunderland at home, 2 goals. If you get 2 goals a game, then they've got a chance of winning some football matches.
The start of the game that it depends on what Man United turn up, which Manchester United turns up. And I didn't mean which Manchester United in possession, because in possession with Mbeumo and Cunha, Fernandes, they've got lots of good players. It's which Manchester United when they haven't got the ball. And the Man United off the ball after going 1-0 up, having to defend deep, they put on a proper performance. It was the proper Manchester United that turned up. The first goal helped them, which meant they could defend deep and defend the lead. Obviously when Liverpool equalised, we felt it was only going to go one way, but they showed the character and the determination. So I was always worried if Manchester United turned up and played properly when they haven't got the ball. The problem they'll have moving forward is obviously do they do this in every game? When they play the so-called lesser teams, are they going to perform like this? Yes, Man City, they beat them in the cup final. The big games they turn up, but the consistency is their attitude and their commitment and their determination without the ball that they show today, which will help them moving forward if they do that.
What about Liverpool? Michael says he's not too worried because they're creating chances. There've been fine lines in each and every one of these defeats?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not worried at all because, of course, you look at the performances, and the performance it warranted. Even today, they didn't warrant losing. They lost to Chelsea, who are a good team. So as long as they put in the performance, Liverpool are a bit different. Because regardless of who they play with the right commitment, determination, effort. So you'll win more games than you lose. So they lost today. Yes, they've lost against Chelsea and they've lost a few games. But if they continue to play this, they'll be fine. So, and once again, we assume that because we then spent 200 million on Wirtz and Isak and Ekitike, things are just going to fall into place. They're young players trying to get the balance right between attack and defence. We're finding our feet. But I have no worries about Liverpool. I'm not saying they're going to go and win the league, but they'll play consistently well and be right up there come the end of the season.
John, we spoke a little bit before the game about Mo Salah. Again, no goals today, a couple of missed chances. I mean, your opinion, and I think what we said before the game as well with Michael, it will come for Mo Salah. He's done it for many, many years. The longer this goes on, though, I mean, I can't think of lots and lots of games you went without scoring. The longer it goes on for him, does it matter to him? Do you think he'll be worried? Do you think the manager will be worried? Do you think he could actually move him out? Because there's so many different options now.
Well, I don't think he'll necessarily be worried, but I think that what has happened is that Liverpool are now a different team with different players playing in a different style. In the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years, the team has been designed and set up for Mo to score goals, be it Trent creating it, be it anybody creating for Mo, Bobby Firmino. Whereas now, once you have Isak and you have Wirtz and you have Ekitike, we're now doing different things. Everything's not just for Mo to score. So the fact that Mo won't be as impactful has nothing to do with him himself. It's to do with the nature of the team, meaning that we're going to share the creativity. Everything's not going to go through Mo. Wirtz himself, in terms of him being the number one at Bayer Leverkusen, where everything went through him, he hasn't necessarily showed the same form here because everything is now not going to go through him. But the team's still good enough as a combination of different people being creative in different ways rather than one person to win football matches. So I have no fears about Mo, no.
And just finally, John, what about Liverpool at the other end? They're giving up chances again today. 2 clean sheets in 17 games. Is that understandable given the inconsistency, the way that the back four's been this season?
Well, I don't look at it from a back four perspective. I look at it from a whole team defensive perspective. Remember when we had, Fabinho and Milner and Henderson defensive midfield players, the fullbacks could attack, everyone attacks. Now our midfield is very creative. So we're very creative in midfield. But out of possession, we have to look at transitions when we haven't got the ball, how teams are causing us problems, like when Semenyo scored against us when he ran from his own half. So one thing, thinking that the solution to the problem is just signing great attacking players that we have. But the balance as a team defensively, when we haven't got the ball, not today because Man United sat back, but we have to get that right in terms of defending better as a team rather than just looking at it as a back four problem.
Top stuff, John. Thanks for all your work today.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, well, 4 in a row in all competitions hasn't happened since 2014. Brendan Rodgers was the last Liverpool manager to endure a run like that. But in terms of the chances created, he's talking about that. 19 shots they had today. Liverpool, 6 of them on target. Do you feel on another day they could have easily scored 2 or 3?
Absolutely, yeah. I thought he summed it up really well, very honest. Of course it's a concern losing games. They can't afford to really lose many more. I think that's, 4 points behind Arsenal already. They've lost a game in the Champions League. It's not a disaster at the moment. It could turn into one if it continues. However, based on the facts and based on what we've seen and how well Liverpool are playing, I'm not saying they're absolutely at their top, they're full throttle at the moment, but they are certainly playing well enough to win games. Certainly, if they just play that well as they played today, they'll win more often than they'll lose. Now, they need to probably play even better to become champions, but it's certainly not, that team is not devoid of confidence. They're creating chances, conceding a couple of chances themselves, which is not ideal, but they've got so many great players in so many attacking areas. They can change their whole attack today and have a new burst of energy, a new sort of last 20 minutes or so. It's again, right, it's new players, it's new chances, and they get a goal and you think, wow, it's going to happen. They're going to get another one here. So there's lots to be positive about, but of course, you'd be stupid to say, yeah, no concerns at all, everything's rosy in the garden. They've lost 4 on the spin. It's not ideal, but there's plenty going on that I see that's positive.
Do you know, in the bigger picture, though, as well, for me, it's 4 points at the moment. If it's 4 points in February, they're right in the mix.
Yeah.
March even, if it's Arsenal at the top, they've never won it before, so you're almost banking on them to. It's going to be hard to get over the line. So actually, the bigger picture, 4 points is not the end of the world. It's what happens next.
Can I point out the bigger picture is 3 weeks ago, Liverpool were 5 points clear of Arsenal, and Arsenal fans are worried about Liverpool going outside.
And that's how it can flip so quickly. And we're in a marathon here, and we've just kind of started really. So I think there's that. The other kind of influence and effect it can have, though, if there's that bit of goals going in against you and there's the little chink in the armour, all of a sudden the games that are coming up go a bit of a different perspective in terms of the opposition. So Liverpool's players might be a little bit, instead of being here and playing Brentford next, isn't it? And they go in, Brentford might be thinking, if Liverpool are looking invincible, they think, tough game this, we can't score against them and they're dangerous. And all of a sudden, Liverpool's a little better. Brentford all thinking, Liverpool, we might get something today. And that's what they have to get, almost nip in the bud quick and get that invincibility and that aura back.
Fear factor,
because I think that, as much as the results, I think going on the pitch against them, that's a massive factor. So the quicker they can get back onto that road again, it'll help them and make games easier before they even get on the pitch.
And getting their big players firing again. I mean, if you look at the record signing Isak and Mo Salah, who I know we talked about earlier in the day, hasn't scored from open play in the Premier League this season. Do you think sooner or later those two are going to click, and then that will be a huge difference to what we're talking about?
Well, it will, as soon, and they will click, won't they? I mean, if there's any two players in the Premier League that you shouldn't have doubts about, it's these two. Mo Salah's done it for years and years and years. I mean, his cabinets are bursting with golden boots. So, who am I? Who's anybody to doubt him? Isak is one of the best players on this planet. Best strikers, certainly. I mean, he's been doing it in this league. So there's no question at all that these two are going to be banging in goals. No question. And the beauty of it for Liverpool is, do you know what? If they are struggling after an hour, then they can bring Ekitike on. They can bring Wirtz on. They can bring all these superstars on. And, I thought Ekitike on. Gakpo's playing really well. He missed a few chances today, but he's the most improved player in a Liverpool shirt, him and Gravenberch, over the last year or two. So there's lots going on. There's lots of different options if they should be struggling. Now, they are at the moment, but, only a fool would write them off for the long term.
Defensively, though, I mentioned it to John, 2 clean sheets in 17. Arsenal kept 8 already this season.
That's the talking about that chink and that almost giving other teams a bit of hope, if you like. Probably going against Arsenal at the minute thinking this is going to be a real tough game, that they don't give much away and it's difficult to score, and they're dangerous in different ways against Arsenal, set plays and dangerous in free play, where Liverpool are just giving teams now, after that run, that little bit of hope, too much hope really. So it's pretty obvious, you need to score and you need to stop conceding goals, but the goals will come. So, you're talking about the calibres of player that have been there and done it, especially Salah, and knows they'll turn up. But defensively, they do need to nip that, because it's very difficult to then rely on extra goals, 2-3 goals to win games. You can't do that every week. And
that is the makeup of both teams, though, as well, isn't it? I mean, Arsenal are extremely solid as a defensive unit. They don't create as much as Liverpool. They're not as good on the eye as Liverpool. When both teams are purring, when both teams are at full throttle, I mean, Liverpool can blow teams away 5 or 6-0. I don't really see that with Arsenal, but Arsenal just don't concede. So it is, I know what you're saying about how many Arsenal concede, but Liverpool create more chances. Liverpool are going to win more games 4-2 than Arsenal. Arsenal will win 1-0, as they're famous for doing, like they did at the weekend. I wouldn't be so concerned about comparing like for like. I think these two teams are very different. Liverpool really need to get their scoring boots on, because they almost need to outscore teams as opposed to nick games 1-0, whereas Arsenal, it's about, can they score the chance that they get, or the one chance that they, out of 3 or 4 that they get, because they're going to keep a clean sheet. So very different teams, but obviously Liverpool do need to stop the chances if they can.